Hi Dollar Divas, welcome to Behind the Vanity. I'm Jessica. So today I'm duping another palette, one that just recently came out by Decay. It's called the Wild Greens Collection. And of course I'm focusing on the Wild Greens eyeshadow palette. It retails for $44 and it's described as 12 nature-inspired earthy neutrals with wild greens and all new California-inspired shades. It's got shimmers, mattes, and metallics. So I'm doing my best to dupe it with as many Dollar Tree eyeshadows as I can. There were a couple that I did have to reach into my affordable palette collection or eyeshadow collection, but I did a pretty good job of making it all Dollar Tree. And of course, if you can do it with Dollar Tree eyeshadow, you'll have no problem doing it with your affordable eyeshadows or any shadows in your collection. So I do love to try to see if I can do it all Dollar Tree sometimes, and most of the time I can. But I did have to reach into some affordable palettes. So I just think these videos are so fun, and really the idea of them is, even if you don't have any of the palettes I have, is to inspire you to look into your own collection when you're thinking about buying a palette, especially if you're on the fence and don't really know if you really want to buy that palette or not. It is nice to kind of look and see what we have. So definitely look at your own collection and see what you have. So yeah, so I love to dupe palettes. So if you enjoy duping videos, definitely check out my playlist. I will have it linked down below in the description box so you can binge watch some more videos like this. And if you enjoy duping videos as well as Dollar Tree oriented makeup and haul content, you are definitely in the right place. So I would love it if you subscribed and became one of my Dollar Divas. So yeah, without any further chit chat, let's just go ahead and get into today's video. So I will have a picture of the palette up here, that way we can follow along and see where we're at. And of course, as always, I say this in all my duping videos, keep in mind that swatches look one way, sometimes in the pan it looks another, but the most forgiving place is on the eye. So the first shade here is called Chill. Of course, I'm looking at pictures and I'm looking at the swatches that Decay has out, and it looks kind of like a champagne color, a shimmery champagne, which is generally, I feel, a very easy shade to dupe. So for me, for this shade, I'm gonna go into this palette here. I've had this for a while. It's not a recent find, but like I said, luckily this is a very easy to dupe shade. This is a little LA Colors palette. Color Story is Beauty, and I'm gonna go into this first shade right here. That is what it looks like on my finger. So that is what I have right there, and we will move on to the next shade. So I've actually got a couple options for this shade here, as I do feel it's a very easy shade to dupe. The shade is called Lo-Fi, and it looks just to be kind of like a matte, like a cream colored, slightly peachy matte. So I've got a couple of LA Colors quads. These are a fairly recent find. I've got Heat and Bare, and I'm thinking either of those light shades in there would work. Or this is a very recent find from the Dollar Tree, and I see these all the time. It's the Beauty Benefits Color Squad eyeshadow single. And this is in Deep Plum, and I don't know why they call it Deep Plum, but it's called Deep Plum. So these are the three shades on my finger. And I have other palettes I could go into, but I just wanted to keep it kind of simple. I'm gonna go into the one that's in the Bare palette. So that is what we have so far. So the next shade is called Kickback. And in the pan it looks matte, but on the swatches it looks like it might have a little hint of shimmer in it. So the shade I'm gonna swatch for that is this one here in this Hard Candy palette. Like I said, just kind of a taupe brown and a little bit of shimmer, not anything too crazy. So that is what we have so far. The next shade is called Fizz, and it seems to be kind of like a gold, kind of a dark gold shimmer, and that might actually be a foil. And I feel again that this has kind of three options just sitting here in front of me. There's this eyeshadow single from the Beauty Essentials brand from Dollar Tree. This is a recent find too. This is Inconsiderate. Not inconsiderate, but inconsiderate. The shade Considerate. Then again, I've got the Heat and Bare quad from LA Colors, and I feel like this shade here could be a contender. Then this shade here is also a contender. And literally the shimmers in these two palettes, I would say they're not even like a shimmer, they are like a metallic. They are so beautiful, you guys. So there's like the three options. Really all three are just stunning. I'm gonna go with the single because I feel like it's the closest, but really any of these would work. So those are my swatches so far. Then the shade Turmeric, and again, this is another one I felt was really easy to dupe. So I have two really good options. Going back into that Heat palette, that shade right here, of course this is a matte, kind of a rust color. Then I've got this little eyeshadow book from LA Colors. This is in Honey Lavender. And this third shade in right here is also another good dupe. So the first shade is from the Honey Lavender palette, and the second one is from the Heat palette. And I'm gonna just go ahead with the LA Colors book. Like I said, I think either of those would work, as well as many other shades. Then the shade High Vibe is like another shimmer or metallic, and it looks, to describe it, I would say, and I'm really bad at describing these kinds of things, a slightly deeper, kind of a slightly peachy undertone type of a gold, or a little bit of a brown undertone. I don't even know if any of that makes sense, but I think this shade right here in the LA Colors Bear Quad is the most similar. So there are the swatches. The shade Earthside looks like another matte, and it just kind of looks again like a peachy matte. So for this shade, I have another one of these LA Colors like eyeshadow books, and this is the Strawberry Peach Color Story, and I think that shade right there in the corner is a really, really good match. But again, I think this is a fairly easy one to dupe as well. Now we get into some shades that were a little harder to dupe with my Dollar Tree collection. And there's actually 3 of the colors that I will be using from this e.l.f. Mint Melt Quad. Of course, these are dirt cheap, these quads. This is actually the only e.l.f. quad that I own. And this is in Mint to Be. Of course, they have, I think, mint chocolate as well. And I've been seeing on like Instagram where people are finding these for like $1 at like Marshalls and TJ Maxx. So for the shade Super Greens, it's kind of a matte mint green. So of course, this shade right here is like, I would say it's probably a spot on dupe. So there we go. It doesn't get any more perfect than that. And then for the shade Prickly, it's basically the same shade, it's just shimmery. So of course I went into this shade right here for that. Again, I feel like it's another spot on dupe. Then the next shade Twist, again, I feel like this one here, not a perfect dupe, but definitely the closest thing into my collection. And I even went into the NYX Utopia palette. I've got the big one, and this was still the closest thing that I found. So just like I said, this is a little bit more of a vibe swatch, I would call it, but definitely got the feel going on. So for the shade Kale, this was like the hardest one to find in my collection, and I actually had to go into one of my high-end palettes. And recently I purchased this ABH Subculture palette from Marshalls. I've been seeing them at Marshalls and TJ Maxx quite a bit. And the Riviera palette has kind of resurfaced in those stores as well. I bought mine there like a couple years ago. But so really this is kind of a very affordable find at the moment, because I think I paid like $25 for this. So that's like a steal. So this palette kind of has like a lot of grungy type of shades, which this shade here is kind of like an olive shade. So I knew that this palette would be something to dig into, because I was stumped for a minute. So this shade here, Destiny, is a really, really, really good dupe. So there is the swatch. Again, like I said, really good. And I was wanting this to be like really affordable. And luckily, like I said, I found this recently at Marshalls for like half the price. And then the last shade could have also been a really hard one, but I just happen to have this palette here, which has a wonderful dupe for this shade. And the shade is called Stash. It looks kind of like it's kind of like a shimmery or a metallic like olive, but it's kind of got hints of brown and tan underneath, so it's not really like green, but greenish. So this shade here on the end, I feel is pretty much a perfect dupe. So there we go. I feel like that right there is really, really super, super good. So here are our swatches. I think we did a pretty good job. And like I said, there's even some colors that I probably had something better in my collection, but I tried to keep it as simple and not pull out too many palettes. And of course, Subculture. I would say the stars of the show is Subculture saved the day. This palette right here saved the day. And of course the e.l.f. Mint palette saved the day. And we were able to kind of be pulled through with those. So yeah, special shout out to those palettes. Like I said, I think we did a pretty good job. Definitely duped the vibe of the palette. So I hope you enjoyed another duping video. If you did, show me you did by hitting that like button. Of course, share this video with anybody that has maybe been eyeing this palette, but they're on the fence, or they don't want to spend the money for this palette, or can't afford to spend the money with this palette. Definitely share this with them and get them to use their imagination with stuff that they may already have. And it goes to show you, it can be stuff from Dollar Tree, can be affordable makeup, and you can find pricier makeup at Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and all that kind of stuff and get a really good discount. So things can be done, and that's what makes these videos so fun for me to do. I really do enjoy them, and I hope you do as well. Again, I'll have my duping playlist linked down below so you can binge watch more videos like this that I've done in the past. And comment down below, let me know if this is a palette you're planning on picking up when it comes out. I can definitely say this is most likely going to be one that I pass on, but definitely let me know if it is something that you are planning to buy. It is a really pretty color story, I think. I do think there's a lot of people that are going to really be drawn to this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.